Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, Ed Harris, Michelle Pfeiffer, they're great. This movie, on the other hand... Hi everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to Tread Talks, where I walk on this treadmill to stay in shape while making videos for you fine people. It can be intellectually satisfying when we watch a movie or read a story and we discover some hidden layer of meaning that we didn't see before. On the one hand, we gain appreciation for the artist and the care they put into their work, and we also get that enjoyable feeling of having our curiosity rewarded. And maybe on top of that, we feel pretty good about ourselves because, hey, we were smart enough to get it. And you know, Darren Aronofsky's Mother is the type of film that can give us some of that kind of satisfaction. On the surface, it's a story about a wife who's trying to love her struggling writer husband while dealing with a bunch of unwanted guests coming into their home. But beneath that layer, you find that it's an allegory, and it's filled with smaller metaphors and allusions, and already we're seeing a lot of articles and videos going up trying to decipher the meaning of the film. And even before it came out, Aronofsky was talking about the motivation and the meaning and the symbolism in the movie. That sounds great on an intellectual level, but here's the thing. It's probably going to be more enjoyable to deconstruct the movie than it is to watch it. But let's start off with what the movie does right. Excellent performances. Jennifer Lawrence and Ed Harris were the standouts for me, but nobody is slouching here. And it also does a great job of keeping us oriented within a large and potentially confusing space. Everything takes place inside of a large mansion, and we generally know where we are. Beyond that, the visual effects, the special effects, and the action design give us some really intense and creepy and disturbing imagery, especially in the second half. And finally, in terms of cinematography, we're always really well grounded from Jennifer Lawrence's perspective, and so primarily we see the film through her eyes. So all of this is to say that in terms of taking Darren Aronofsky's script and his director's vision and executing it, everyone puts in really good work. But here's the thing. It's his script and his vision that really kept me from appreciating the movie, and for two main reasons. The main problem for me was that in the midst of this surreal world filled with not quite human acting characters, I couldn't find someone to anchor myself to. For example, in Alice in Wonderland, we're given Alice. She's our connection to reality. She's in this surreal space, but she's not a part of it. Or another example would be Spirited Away, where regardless of what's happening in this world, and it's filled with metaphor and illusion and weirdness, we always have Chihiro. We can always connect to her and her personal journey. And so in Mother, I naturally felt that that would be Jennifer Lawrence. She would be our connection to reality. She would be the eyes through which I would view this surreal experience. And at first it worked because she seemed believable. She was trying to deal with these unwanted guests and being put upon by her husband. But as the movie progressed, her actions and her motivations became stranger and stranger to the point where it didn't feel like she was human anymore. It felt like she was merely another piece of the puzzle in this allegory that was being played out. So when violence or tragedy or some really disturbing things happened to her, I found myself eventually not caring, even though it was some really disturbing stuff. And it was frustrating because you could tell that the movie was trying to get you to see things from her perspective and to really empathize with her. But by that point, it simply felt like she was just another part of this cast of surreal characters, another piece in the allegorical puzzle. And second, after breaking it down and understanding the main message and most of the references, it still feels like the elements of the allegory were pretty disjointed. Yes, there's that main focus about the state of the world and our relationship to it. But then beyond that, it feels like they filled out the story with references and allusions that are interesting because of where they come from, but that don't quite fit well together. I was reminded of when I got married and we had both Cuban food and Asian food at the same reception. Now, both types of cuisine are a part of us as a couple, and both types of food are really tasty, but they don't quite fit together right on the same plate. The tastes don't align well. And hey, maybe that was intentional. Maybe it's not supposed to come together that way. But for me, it left me feeling like, yes, these are a bunch of interesting references and parts, but they don't come together into a cohesive whole. And so for me, the result was that it limited the intellectual satisfaction of figuring out the movie, and it couldn't overcome how frustrated I felt at being emotionally disconnected from the second half of the film. And so yes, the movie isn't just about a wife facing unwanted guests, but by the end what I was left with was just the intellectual exercise of working out the metaphors. And so for me, Mother was somewhat thought-provoking, visually disturbing, but emotionally empty, which is why I give Mother 2.5 out of 5 stars. Okay, so that was Mother, and from what I can tell, thoughts are pretty polarized on the movie. So if you disagree with my assessment, put it in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts. Beyond that, if you like this video and you want to keep up with my content, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and it would be great if you were a part of that group. And hit the little bell icon to be notified when a new video goes up. Either way, thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.